What's up guys, it's the Brigantine Buccaneers here, back with another video. Today we are looking at the Minecraft 1.17 Caves and Cliffs update for Bedrock Edition and Java Edition. So let's get straight into the video. Update Mojang have added 2 double chests and 1 item. They also added 3 new spectacular mobs that we will look at later during the video. But you're probably wondering, where are you going to get some of these blocks? Well, you'll be able to find them, well, some of them off the Wandering Trader. As I show you now, you can see that we can get the pointed dripstone and the small drip leaf for a small price. You can also get some of these blocks from underwater ruins, and you can get them from mine shafts. The first block that we will be taking a look at is tinted glass. Now, tinted glass isn't like the normal glasses. Tinted glass deflects light and keeps in darkness. Now you might be wondering, why would this be useful? Well, the reason why it would be useful is that people love to make mob farms, and if you're a farm designer, you might know what I'm talking about. So this will help you get more mobs in your mob farm by decreasing the light level. It is also useful for building to decrease the light level and mess with the light levels. The next block that we are moving on to is copper. Now copper isn't like your standard block. Copper can go through a process known as oxidization. Now oxidization will leave it to change to a different color from its browny gold color to a green blue color. As you can see, there is 2 variants of the copper, the not waxed and the waxed variants. Now I'll be showing you both variants, but they're the exact same. So first I'm going to be going through the not waxed variants. Next I'm going to be showing you how to wax copper, but to do this I'm going to show you the different stages of copper. We have the normal copper, the exposed copper, the weathered and the oxidized copper. So you might want to keep it at a certain stage. The 4 stages that I showed you there, you might want to keep it at its first stage, and you might not want it to progress through oxidization. Now to do this, it's very simple. All you'll need to do is get a bit of honeycomb from the chest over here. Then we are going to combine it with the copper that you want in the crafting table. Now you can actually just place it onto copper and it will make a lovely particles, and I'll show you that later. And that's it for waxing copper. Now you can do this with all the different stages of copper. And if you want to remove it, you can simply press left trigger on a controller, or on a mouse you will press left click, and it with an axe, remember with an axe, only an axe will work, and it will scrape off the wax. And you can also scrape back the oxidization from it, which I will be showing you later if you are confused now. Now I'm going to show you the different stair variants. As you can see, the normal stair variant, then we have the exposed cut copper stair variant, then we have the weathered stair variant cut copper again, and then we have the oxidized stair variant cut copper again. These are the cut copper slabs, and I'm going to show you now. This is actually an example of oxidization. As in the start of this clip, it did not look like that. It looked at stage 1 just a normal block of copper, but it has gone to the next stage of copper. It wouldn't have got to stage 3 or 4 as it wasn't a long time that I had created this world. Now I'm going to show you the cut copper and the exposed copper, the weathered and the oxidized. Now those blocks are literally the same as the slabs and the stairs, and I'm going to quickly show you the waxed variants of everything. But yes, they are the same and they look exactly the same. The only difference again is that the waxed will not oxidize any further once the wax is put onto them. Okay, I am showing you the different cut copper blocks there, the normal blocks of copper there as well, which we have already went through, and then the cut copper slabs, which is the next, and then we will move our way onto the cut copper stairs. We have the oxidized, that in a corner, that's what it looks like. Then we have another one, and then we have our exposed, and finally we go back to our normal one. And that's what it looks like at the corner. Okay, so that seems to be all the copper blocks. Now this is, I'm going to show you the confusing part, is how to wax copper and get rid of it. As you can see here, I'm looking up copper in the creative inventory menu, and I'm going to get you an example here. We'll take the waxed cut copper stairs. Okay, so you're going to want to grab yourself a axe, and you can scrape it, and it makes lovely white particles. Now we can also put honeycomb onto it, and this is going to wax it. Just to show you again if you are confused, you can also do it in the crafting table as I showed you earlier. And you can see it produces yellow particles, and when you remove it, white particles. And once you remove it, it will go back to oxidizing, and when you put some on, it will not. That we'll be taking a look at is deep slate. Now I have 4 different types in front of me. Cobbled deep slate, we have tile deep slate or deep slate tile, polished deep slate, and deep slate brick. Now this is in the form of walls, slabs, stairs, and also blocks, as I'll show you later. Now as I show you these, I'm going to talk about the block deep slate. Now deep slate will spawn in the depths of the world, and there is multiple versions as I am showing you now. Once you mine the normal block of deep slate, you will get cobbled deep slate. This is the same for stone, as you may know that when you mine stone you get cobblestone. Now this block is actually extremely hard to mine, and it is quite blast resistant, so if you want to make a house out of this, maybe a nether bunker, it's the perfect block to do so. Now we'll take a look at the other blocks. We have the cobbled deep slate first. This is the block that when you mine deep slate you will get this. As I'm showing here, there's deep slate. The other blocks are brick, deep slate bricks. We have chisel deep slate, cracked deep slate tiles, and cracked deep slate bricks. And then we have infested deep slate. It looks exactly the same as deep slate. I actually confused it there. I forgot to even put it in because they look so similar. But there is no need. We can purely use this as texture. So as I'm showing you there, you can see that there's absolutely no difference between normal deep slate and infested deep slate. I'm showing you what happens when you mine the infested deep slate. You get a little silverfish. Now these guys are incredibly annoying, so you're going to have to keep aware of these guys when you are mining. They are quite commonly found in strongholds and near strongholds. To be showing you how to make some of the deep slate blocks. As you can see here, I am not mining deep slate. I am going to gather all of the cobbled deep slate. As you can see, I have 8 in my inventory right now. Now I have 12. Okay, so now we are going to want to go over to a furnace if you want to make it into normal deep state to use in your builds. Now if we wait a few seconds and we wait for the arrow to fully charge, then we have deep state. And now we can go over to the stone cutter and check out what we can make with this. And we can make multiple things. As you see, I just made some chiseled deep state, and we can keep making different types of blocks if we want to. We can make deep state tiles and other blocks. I'm just demonstrating that there is so much blocks to make from cobbled deep state. Now, there is not a lot of blocks to make from normal deep state, however. The final thing I want to show you is that you can still craft them in the crafting table. You can still craft your normal stairs or your slabs in the crafting table. Everything is okay to do so. Now it is time to look at the new ore blocks. Now we are going to take a quick look at the deep slate ores. Now these ores are actually harder to mine, like the deep slate themselves. We have deep slate emerald ore, deep slate copper ore, deep slate coal ore, deep slate iron ore, deep slate gold ore, deep slate lapis ore, deep slate redstone ore, and deep slate diamond ore. All the textures now for old ores have actually changed as well. Now we have new copper ore, we've got coal ore texture changed to this new texture, iron ore, the textures changed, gold ore, textures changed, lapis ore, textures changed, redstone ore, and textures changed. Now I forgot to put in emerald ore as the textures slightly changed. It's a bit hard to spot. Now they have added the new copper ingots to the game. Now this is how you make blocks of copper, and once you mine the copper block itself, you will be able to obtain raw copper, and then you can smelt it into the copper ingot. And I'm going to demonstrate this right now. You break the copper ore block, you will get raw copper, and when you smelt the raw copper down in the furnace, you will get copper ingots, 1 per each raw copper you put into the furnace. And as you can see, we just got some there. We are taking a look at the block of raw ore. Now we have 3 to look at today: the block of raw copper, the block of raw iron, and the block of raw gold. Once crafting down the block of raw copper, we get raw copper, which is pretty straightforward. Once we craft down the block of raw iron, we will get raw iron, again straightforward. And finally, once we craft down the block of raw gold, you've guessed it, we get raw gold, pretty straightforward. We can also craft these raw ores back into the block format as well. And once we smelt them down, we'll get the ingot format of the ore. And as you can see there, we are smelting down the raw copper. A look at the textures of the ore blocks again. I'm going to share with you a new glitch that has entered 1.17 for Minecraft Bedrock Edition. This is not in Java. This is where diamonds are more rare and spawn in smaller veins. Fairly peculiar, but will get fixed soon. Now I'm going to show you about the block of raw ores. I'll show you what is the difference between mining the block of raw ore between the ore blocks. Now if we just place them down like this, and if we place down the copper in a 5 line as shown on screen, and then the iron ore in a 5 line, and finally the gold ore in a 5 line. Now I'm going to need to get a pickaxe and 2 chests. And we're going to place them down like that. I probably will not need the chests. Now if I mine this, as you can see, you actually get the block of raw ore. Now to be honest, I thought that I would get the raw ore from this, but it seems to me that we only will get the block of raw ore. As you can see there, I'm mining the block of raw gold, and that is what I'm getting. But from these, I actually get the raw ore. Now, as you can see, you get a load of iron, but you just get the exact amount of iron, 1 per block, and same with gold. As you can see, 12, 5 and 5. You can see the difference between copper, iron and gold. The fortune enchantment, however, would make gold and iron better. The final thing that I'm going to do is place in the ore block for emerald, as I did forget to do it, and it's important that you see the difference between the deep slate variant and the normal variant. As you can see, I'm searching it up there, and I'm going to just place it down, and it looks fairly similar to the old variant, but there you go. Now I'm going to show you how to craft the block of raw iron, the block of raw gold and the block of raw copper. Once we craft them down, we can see, craft them in a 9x9 grid, we can see we get a block of raw iron. If we craft it back, we'll get raw iron. And if we do the same with gold, if we craft it in the 9x9 grid, put 1 in each space, we will get a block of raw gold. And as you can see, it does get converted back once we put it in the crafting grid. And then once I clean up my inventory, we'll have a look at the raw copper. Once we do this, you can see it's the same crafting recipe for the same block, and it kind of looks like baked beans. I saw that, a meme of it on YouTube, and I thought it was quite funny. Craft copper ingots in the 3x3 square, you will get a block of copper. Just thought I'd show you that. And if you craft it, you will get copper ingots. And if you craft copper in a 3 straight line, you will get a lightning rod, a new block that will attract lightning, and I'll show you a bit more on that later. Now we are actually going to take a look at one of the nicest blocks. It is the geodes, the amethyst shards from the geodes, and if we craft it with copper, we can see that we will get the new spyglass. Now I'll show you a bit more on the geodes and the shards later, but I'm going to show you a bit about spyglass, and if you use zoom, it is so cool. As on Bedrock, we do not have an Optifine as I'm aware of, and if someone makes one, then that would be fairly impressive. But for now, we got a spyglass, and they look fantastic. As you can see, I'm testing it out right now. Now we are going to take a look at the glowberries and the hanging vines. You can actually eat the glowberries. I'm going to show you how to plant them as well. So it's fairly simple. All you need to do is just put glowberries on a hanging, on like a block from above, and you can actually get them. That's simple. And you can just keep bone mealing it and bone mealing it. You get loads of glowberries, and then you can extend it, or it will grow itself. You can extend the vine, or yeah, it'll grow itself. And then when you break it, it disappears. Now we're looking at the azalea, flowering azalea leaf block. They look so nice, and they're actually from the trees. And there's the sapling there. I'm just going to show you it. I have to break these barrier blocks that I put in, show you it, and they look so cool. And I think you're actually able to put them in plant pots, and they look even cooler. And once they grow up, they will grow into that tree. And the trees look fairly the same for the flowering azalea and the normal azalea sapling. And as you can see, when we block it, we just get the sapling. Now, if we look at the spore blossom, that actually emits particles. Now, I do not think you're able to get this on survival yet, but as you can see, you can't really place it on leaf blocks. But it still looks cool if you want to use it on creative. I'm going to give you a a quick down view of it from in this hole, and as you can see it's dropping particles on me, and it actually looks pretty nice. Now we're going to have a quick look at the normal azalea plant. It's quite similar to the flowering azalea plant, just this one doesn't have the pink flowers on it, but once it grows up it actually does have the flowers on it, and it looks spectacular as the flowering azalea. They look quite similar, literally the same. Now we are going to take a look at drip leaf. Now the cool thing with this is that you can plant it as high as you want, as I'm about to show you now. As we can see that you're going so high, and once you break it you get one drip leaf per block. Now it's not like any other block drip leaf. When you throw an item onto it or even step on it, it will collapse under the weight. Now as I'm showing you right now, it's collapsing under my weight and I cannot go any further. This would be great for parkour courses if you want to, and they will actually extend back to the original form as you just saw there after a while, maybe a couple of seconds. Going to take a look at the small drip leaf. Now this isn't like the normal drip leaf. This will not collapse under your weight. You can actually just walk through the block. It's pretty straightforward, and it actually, I don't think, grows into the big one. It's just for decoration, but they look quite cool. Now we're going to have a look at the moss block, and if I bring it over here and place it in the ground, we can see that it will convert the grass into moss, and you get all these lovely azaleas and moss carpets and grass, which I have to say looks pretty nice if you're living in a dark biome, maybe like a savanna, to mix it up a bit and have a lot of vegetation. As you can see, you can forever just bone meal it, though it will remove the grass and replace it with moss. The next thing we are going to look at is the moss carpet, and it's quite cool, and if you can collect it, and it would be quite useful for lighting if you're interested in that way. You can put it over glowstone. We are going to take a look at glow lichen, and for this I'm going to need to set the time to midnight. As you can see, it will glow in a second. As you can see, lovely glow, and also the glow berries will glow. I just wanted to show you this as I had it set to midnight. Looks pretty nice. You'll be able to find glow lichen in caves. This will illuminate caves and make it a bit easier to navigate. Now, if you bone meal one, it will grow in a northerly, a southerly, an easterly and a westerly direction. It has a random chance of growing, as you can see, for each direction. And if I keep bone mealing it, it will grow on the sides of the block as well. As you can see there, it is growing on the sides. I thought I'd just demonstrate that in case anyone was confused. And as you can see, I can bone meal it the whole way around and there's no problem. It is an infinite resource, as we can just constantly bone meal it, but we will need a lot of bone meal if you want to make a lot of this to glow up your house, which I would not recommend. The next thing we're looking at is rooted dirt. Now this can be found under the azalea trees, and also you will be able to bone meal rooted dirt, which will allow you to get the roots. As you can see, it does not work. You cannot bone meal the roots, but you can bone meal the rooted dirt. Now we're having a look at the amethyst blocks. Now this can be found in the amethyst geodes. The first thing that we're looking at is the amethyst shard. Once breaking blocks or the crystals, you'll be able to obtain these. Going to see what happens when we mine the clusters. As you see, we just got some amethyst shards from the large clusters. It's pretty obvious to tell. And we can also place the amethyst clusters back if mined with a silk touch. Moving on, we're taking a look at what the geodes are composed of. They're composed of smooth basalt, calcite and an amethyst block. Now I mixed up the smooth basalt for tough. Now it's a very common mistake as they look extremely similar. I'll show you more on the smooth basalt later, but I'm going to show you what it looks like when you find one of these on survival in your Minecraft world. As you can see, I am now in a world I just loaded into, and I found a geode, and if we break into it carefully, we can see the layers of polished basalt, calcite and then amethyst blocks. Now there will be a mixture of amethyst blocks and budding amethysts, and on the budding amethysts will hold the amethyst clusters, and they will be growing in different stages as I showed you, but I didn't really explain it. But now you can see it for yourself. As you can see, there's big clusters, small clusters, and even tiny clusters. But make sure not to break the budding amethyst, and this is an only source that you will be able to get the amethyst shards. Now you can break down the amethyst blocks, but this is a renewable resource. Now we are looking at the smooth basalt block. Now to make smooth basalt, you can simply just smelt basalt into smooth basalt, or you can mine it from the geodes. As we are smelting up that, I just wanted to talk to you about the tough block. As I made a mistake with it, it actually spawns in underground near the deep slate block. As you can see, here's the tough block back again. Now we are moving on to my favourite block in this update. It is the dripstone. As you can see here, they grow upwards and downwards, and once broken make a falling animation due to their gravity. As you can see, we can grow them as big as we want, and once broken they make the coolest animation. And if you can break them as big as you want, and they will actually not increase damage, they will always do the same amount of damage, but if you fall from different heights they will do a different amount of damage. I'm afraid I'm not able to give you an example of the falling from different heights on the dripstone, as I didn't have time to put this into the video. Looking at the screen, we can see that dripstones can connect together. Now this is a natural process, and you can do it artificially by connecting them up, as I'm about to show you now. And if you break them, they will do the gravity falling animation, and you can connect them anywhere together. Next, we are taking a look at the way that dripstones can make infinite lava sources and water sources. Now this would be more useful for lava, as we cannot get infinite lava sources already in the game, but for water we can just make a 2x2 square of water and constantly use it. I'm going to demonstrate it now for you, but it could be unsuccessful. As we can see, it's quite unsuccessful. Next, we are looking at powdered snow. Powdered snow is very fun to use. We walk into powdered snow with leather boots on. We can see that we can walk on top of it. But if we then try and take them off, we will sink into it, and eventually with the frozen particles we will take damage. As you can see, the particles on the corners of the screen. And is quite useful for a scaffolding block if you have enough time to wait for this to collect in a cauldron. I'm going to demonstrate how to get powdered snow using a snow biome, and all you need is a cauldron and a bucket. So the first thing you're going to want to do is make sure it's snowy in your snow biome. And I'm going to do this with the help of commands. And once it's snowy, just place down a cauldron and it should start filling up with snow. And this is powdered snow. So when it gets to the top, and it has to be at the top, you will be able to collect it in your bucket and place it anywhere you want. As you just saw, our first layer of snow went into our cauldron. Now this will take up to a minute probably. For some people it can vary for different cauldrons. Now I am going to put down some more cauldrons as we can see if we can get any more powdered snow in a quicker amount of time, as this is taking quite a while to get the block that we need. So I've 3 cauldrons, now I'm putting down 9 cauldrons, and we can see that will speed up the rate of us getting powdered snow. As you can see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 cauldrons have filled up with a few layers of powdered snow, and our top one is done. So if we go and grab in our bucket, we can just place it down and pick it up. It's fairly straightforward to use, and it can be used with a dispenser. It can not be picked up though, that is a bug on Bedrock Edition, but on Java Edition it can be picked up using a bucket, so you can make some fairly cool traps. Anyway, I'm going to show you what to do if you want to make a stray farm. So if you have your old skeleton spawner but you're a bit bored of the same old skeletons, you might want to get slowness arrows or maybe wither skulls, as strays drop wither skulls when blown up by a charged creeper. You can convert them using powdered snow, and if we follow the step that I'm doing here, we can see that after 30 seconds or so that the skeleton will turn into a stray. Now if we just wait patiently, as we can see, it has turned into a stray. Now strays do look pretty cool, and I'm just going to quickly show you the difference between a stray and a normal skeleton. There's a quick view of the stray, and now the stray has turned from a skeleton looking like this into that. Pretty fun process, and it will probably be very useful for you. Next we are looking at is the glow squid. Now the glow squid is not like the normal squid that you get. A glow squid can actually drop these things called glow ink sacs, and once combined with an item frame or used with a sign can make it glow, which I'll just show you now. So if we get out our crafting table and if we get our item frame, there we go. And if we craft it together with some glow ink, taking quite a while, but if we get crafted together with glow ink, we get a glow item frame. And you can actually see the difference between a normal item frame and the glow item frame. As you can see, it just illuminates the object that's in the item frame more. And I will demonstrate what this looks like at night. So we're going to switch the time to midnight, and as you can see, there is a huge difference. We can see that the netherite sword in the right frame is a lot easier to see. I have to say, I really like the way that Mojang have made glow item frames, because I think people did want item frames to look a lot clearer. Now if we change the weather back to clear, I can show you a few more of these. As you can see, there is so much difference between the swords with the normal item frames and the glow item frames. Now there is a bug I have found with the glow item frames, that when you place them the object will be sidewards. Now this is just my experience, I don't know if you have the same experience, but anyway, that is what I have found. Now if we have a look at the glow squid, if we actually get out a sword and if we hit it, it will lose its glow for a few seconds, as you can see there. Now it has escaped, but no need to worry, I'm just going to nudge it back in. Okay, now it's fallen. Anyway, we got our glow ink, sorry about that. And we can just spawn a new one back in. These will spawn in places where there is a platform. They actually will spawn in the nether and end dimensions if you just make a platform and fill it with water. It's pretty simple to do, and there is actually a video on it by Silent Whisper if you want to check out his channel. Hopefully I'll remember to link it in the description. Anyway, here we go. This is how to illuminate item frames. You just saw it there and it is looking spectacular. As you can see, it makes the sign look like it's neon. I like the way that they've added, finally, dying frames to Bedrock, but it has already been in Java. Now we're moving on to the cutest mob of the showcase, the axolotl. And oh my god, Mojang, you have absolutely outdone yourselves. It's so cool. And if I make a little enclosure out of some solid blocks, we can test these guys out and their power. So if we get the bucket of axolotl, which is a new thing that they have added, and the normal axolotl spawn eggs. And if we make a little enclosure, I can show you the power of them against a drowned. So as you can see, we spawn a drowned in, and they are aggressive towards hostile mobs. And you can see now that it has gone into a state where it is recovering. So this is where the axolotl does the term playing dead, and it can recover a good bit of its health. This will be useful in battles, and there are amazing mobs once in herds, as I'm about to show you now. They do escape the boundaries though, and it does make it a bit tricky. The one thing I wanted to talk about in this showcase is that you can actually get a blue axolotl. Now I didn't know this, and I'm only showing you here 4 types, but you can get a fifth one, by breeding axolotls, and it has a really rare chance of spawning. And as you can see, if we pick up an axolotl with a bucket, it actually gives us the bucket with the axolotl in it, but with its name as well. This method of picking them up in a bucket works for all types of axolotls, and you can see that we got the axolotl and the named variant in the bucket right there. I'm going to show you again with this brown axolotl. If you be patient, it is a little bit buggy, but as you can see, we got a bucket of adult brown axolotl. And that's pretty much it for axolotls. Now we're on to goats. If you have a look on screen now, you can see the mountain goat. Now this isn't like any normal mob. This goat has special features, like it can ram you, as you just saw there, and they can jump over high walls. And by jump, I mean that they can jump about 5 blocks, as I'm about to show you right here. If we just look at the goat, we can see that that one there just jumped 5 blocks. Now the final thing I want to show you is the lightning rod. Now I talked a little bit about the lightning rod earlier, and I showed you how to craft it, but this time I'm going to show you it in action. So say if you want to make a charge creeper farm, you would just have creepers nearby and a lightning rod. Now the reason why I'm having creepers with this is to test if they'll get charged once the lightning strikes, and if the lightning will strike that beam. So this is probably going to take a while, as sometimes lightning takes a while to come in, and if you just wait a few seconds, we'll be able to see the lightning strike the rod and hopefully charge the creepers, and that will demonstrate how lightning can strike a lightning rod, and how you can make it into a choice creeper farm. So if we just look right here, we can see that the creepers get charged. Now you can also use this to protect your base and to get lightning away from, say, villagers if you have them in an open area. The only thing left I have to say is thank you very much for watching. If you liked the video, please consider liking it, and if you really liked the video, consider subscribing. Also share it with your friends. These videos take a lot of time to put together, but I've good news for you guys. The update where Diamond Generation has came out during the making of this video. This also brings with it not just the Diamond Generation back, but it also removes the fact that we're able to get wither skulls off strays. So be careful before you make your stray farms. But that's it from me, guys. Thank you very much for watching.